If you grew up here or you've been here long enough to remember what this market used to look like, South Florida feels like a completely different place right now. And I get it, I really do. But here's something that doesn't get said enough. If you're moving from New York, Boston, or California, you're looking at this same market and you're thinking it's a deal. You're comparing it to what you left behind. No state income tax, more space, better weather, lower price per square foot. Where do I sign? Both of those things are true at the same time. That tension is exactly what this video is about. The people who feel priced out and the people who feel like they found a bargain. It's the same market, but two completely different stories. Here's what's actually at stake. If the story you're telling yourself is South Florida is unaffordable, so I'll wait, and that story isn't completely accurate, every month you wait has a real cost. A cost that doesn't show up on a spreadsheet until it's too late. I've watched people sit out perfectly good wealth building opportunities, waiting for a market that just never came back. Not because they couldn't afford it, because the picture in their head didn't match reality. That's what I want to fix today. In this video, I'll show you why South Florida didn't randomly become expensive and what actually drove this market to where it is. Why the home you think you can't afford might be closer than you think once you understand how the ladder works, and what the real cost of waiting looks like when you run the actual numbers. But before we get to any of that, we need to go back to 2020, because what happened then is still shaping how people see this market today. In the summer of 2020, the Federal Reserve dropped interest rates to near zero. Emergency response to the pandemic. The goal was to keep money moving forward, keep businesses alive, keep the economy from collapsing. And for about 2 years, it worked in one very specific way for real estate. Buyers could finance a $500,000 home for roughly what it costs to rent a decent apartment today. It felt normal because for a while, it was all anyone knew. But 3% interest rates, they weren't normal. They were emergency medicine, the equivalent of a doctor giving you something strong after surgery. It's not meant to be your everyday reality. It was meant to get us through a crisis. The market we're in right now, it's not expensive compared to history. We just had an unusually cheap reference point for 2 years, and a lot of people are still measuring today against that moment. Now, rates are only part of the story, because even if rates drop tomorrow, there is a second thing driving this conversation that almost nobody talks about. For years, South Florida was priced like a secret. Think about what this place actually offers. No state income tax, warm weather 12 months a year, beaches, more living space, a lower overall tax burden. For a long time, none of that was fully reflected in home prices here. The lifestyle was real, the pricing hadn't caught up yet. Then the pandemic changed everything. Florida gained over 300,000 net new residents in 2022 alone. Remote workers who no longer needed to be in New York or Chicago, high earners leaving California, equity-rich buyers from the Northeast who sold their homes and showed up with cash. The buyer pool didn't just grow, it completely changed. South Florida stopped competing with local incomes. It started competing with buyers from some of the most expensive markets in the country. That permanently changed the pricing dynamics here. People keep waiting for prices to go back. But go back to what? The 2020 market wasn't normal. The pricing before the migration wave wasn't the true value of this place. It was the anomaly. That market is likely gone. So if this market is now priced where it actually belongs, why does it still feel out of reach for so many people? That's where the ladder comes in. I have this conversation probably 100 times a year. Someone sits across from me, smart, successful. They know exactly what they want. And the home they're describing is beautiful. Fully renovated, gated, waterfront, top schools, pool, designer kitchen, low HOA, under budget. And I have to be honest with them. That's not a starter home. That's a dream home. And they're trying to buy their third house as their first house. Real estate is a ladder, not an elevator. Rung 1 gets you in, it builds equity, it probably isn't perfect. Rung 2 is the move up. You've built equity, you know what you actually need now. Rung 3 is where you get close. And rung 4, that's your dream home. You earned it because you didn't skip the first 3 rungs. The frustration I see every day starts when people try to jump straight to rung 4 on their first try, but unfortunately not everyone can afford to do that. Here's something most buyers miss. Cosmetic homes are still where real value lives in this market. The ones with the ugly paint, dated floors, a kitchen that isn't Instagram worthy. Everyone wants turnkey. The competition is fierce and the price reflects that. But the home that needs some work, most buyers walk right past it. That's often where the real opportunity exists. There's something else that keeps capable buyers stuck, and it's worth slowing down on. In a minute, I'll show you what 5 years on the sideline actually costs. But first, a lot of buyers are disqualifying themselves before they've had the right conversation with the right people. The 20% down myth is still out there. You don't always need 20% down. FHA loans can be as low as 3.5% down. Conventional loans can also be 3 to 5% down. And VA loans for eligible buyers can be 0 down. Seller concessions are back in this market. Rate buydowns exist, 2-to-1 buydowns too, where the seller covers a temporary reduction and your first 2 years become significantly more affordable. Who you work with matters. The guidance you get early in this process also matters a lot. Date the rate, marry the house. I know what people mean when they say it, and it's not entirely wrong, but I think it's dangerous advice. Buying a home you can't comfortably carry because you're planning to refinance someday, that's a real risk. Things change, markets change, plans change. You need to buy responsibly and not emotionally. And shopping at your max approval, a bank approves someone for $800,000 and they immediately start shopping at $800,000. But the bank's job is to tell you what they'll lend you. Your job is to decide what you can live with comfortably. A house is supposed to improve your life and not financially suffocate you. The clients who've made the best decisions long-term bought under their ceiling, not at it. So what does it actually cost us to wait? A renter in Weston, Plantation, or Davie paying $3,000 a month today with a modest 5% annual rent increase will spend somewhere north of $190,000 over the next 5 years. And they're gonna walk away with 0 equity. Meanwhile, a buyer over that same 5 years is building principal every single month, capturing appreciation, locking in a large portion of their housing costs, and getting tax advantages that renters simply don't have access to. Renting makes sense for some people, short term especially. If you know you're moving in 2 years, buying probably doesn't make sense. That's an honest conversation worth having. But long term, most people seriously underestimate what it costs to never own. Research shows that delaying home ownership by roughly 10 years could cost buyers around $150,000 in missed equity growth. That's not a small number. That's a life-changing number for some people. The simplest way I know to say it: rent pays someone else's mortgage. It's not a judgment, it's just math, and it's worth knowing. Let's zoom out for a second. Affordability is not just a number. It's relative to what you're actually getting for it. In many parts of New York, Boston, or California, a buyer is paying similar or higher monthly costs for a smaller home, older housing stock, longer commutes, higher taxes, and winters. In South Florida, that same buyer gets no state income tax, more living space, year-round weather, an outdoor lifestyle, and pools and beaches. That's why people keep coming. That's why demand didn't collapse when rates went up. The value of being here is real. 2 things can be true at the same time. If you grew up here, this market feels dramatically different from what you knew. That feeling is valid. That change was real and it happened really fast. If you're coming from the Northeast or California, South Florida can still look like a relative value. That's also true. It's the same market, but different measuring sticks. That's not a contradiction. That's just the full picture. Now, understanding the cost of waiting over 5 years is one thing, but in a market like Weston, sometimes waiting just 24 hours can cost you the right home. If you want to see what that looks like in practice, watch this video next, where I break down why speed is the ultimate currency in our local market now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.